how would you consider in the sense that we're intellectually?
Say that again?
Are we intellectually?
Of course you are. In Islam, we have. You know who was the first university built by? Fatima al-Firli. She was a Muslim woman who her dad left inheritance, and she opened the first university in Morocco. Do you know navigation system that you use today? Do you know who that was built by? A woman called Maryam Astrolabi. Her dad. It's an actual. If I showed you, I watched a video on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
They showed it to him, and he was like, "Is that from space?" Because he was like, "Was that made by aliens?" I can show you a picture.
I am a revert and I was taught how to pray Salah.
That means every single time I pray,
the person who told me gets the reward.
5 times a day, from Fajr to Isha.
If you want to support someone like me in learning Salah,
then sponsor 10 people for just £100 this Ramadan.
remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
Charity does not decrease wealth. Click the button and donate now.
She's basically, so all of the characters are kind of cartoon. It's animated.
Okay.
And she is one of the characters. She worked in a fast food place, and then basically she's really sweet.
Is she good or bad?
She's good. She's really,
Oh, she's good.
She's really good.
Oh, she's a good person.
I really like her. That's why I dressed as.
That's good. Interesting. Yeah. Do you know you're a Muslim?
No.
Oh, sorry, you're not Muslim.
No.
You yourself?
They teach
I'm
it at my school a lot.
Okay, interesting.
I've been taking it recently, so.
Yeah. Are you guys atheists?
Agnostic.
Agnostic?
Atheist.
Atheist. Okay. So you believe there's some kind of a power, but it's not personal.
Yeah. I mean that there might be something. I don't think it's a god, and if it is a god, I don't think I want to believe it.
Oh, interesting. How comes? Like if there was
if there is a god,
Yeah.
then God would have had to and God is omnipotent, omniscient, all of those things. Oh, GCSE. He or she or they or whatever would have had to put all of this shit into the world. Everything would have had to have been known about or allowed.
Yeah, he has to be.
And I don't like that. I feel like if there is something, if there is a god or a being or whatever that has done that and allowed that all to exist, I don't want to believe in them. I don't want to worship them.
If you put it in that perspective, I as a religious person I became a Muslim 14 years ago, I wouldn't want to believe in a God like that. But just to give you a little perspective of our faith and what we believe, that we say that there is no doubt there is God. We have evidence to it. Now we don't have blind faith. We don't say just believe. For example, today you have a mask, well not a mask but a painting on your face. I can't come and say that you woke up like that. I'm sure you didn't, yeah? Okay, unless you done a painting the day before. So we know that you purposefully went and got that done because you was coming to watch a movie and you want to maybe look like or relate to the actor, the character. Good. So you would agree that somebody paint this? Good, okay. So you agree that there was a purpose you've done it? Okay, good. Now, with the painting, I'm sure you saw the person that painted.
I painted it.
You did it yourself, okay, good. You saw yourself, okay, good. But when it comes to your earring, your scarf and your dress, you agree that these things they have a purpose? Somebody made them. Have you met the people that made your dress or your scarf?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I will ask a question. How do you know somebody made your dress? By observing it. By looking and saying, okay, this is made specifically, the shoulders go here and the skirt goes there. Okay, good. So you would come to the conclusion that somebody made it, but you haven't seen that person. Why? Because we use our rationale and logic to look, and that applies to everything around you. So when I look at the buildings, when I look at my watch, when I look at the table, everything has a purpose. Even these. I think this is where I think the rain goes, yeah? Okay, so we agree that everything is done with a purpose. So we say then...
Everything done by humans is done by purpose.
Good, perfect. So now, what is more complex in design? Your earrings or your heart?
Probably a heart.
Your heart's a million times more complex. Your heart is made out of DNA. DNA is your genetic makeup. So there's 3 billion letters, yeah? And these letters switch on and off, which makes your kidney the way it is, your eyes. It's the same DNA, but it makes you the way you are, the way I am, my height, your height, the way you look. So we say, if there's information in your DNA, it requires intelligence. So what we say is that the way we are created, and we're just one species, there are billions of species that we haven't discovered yet, from birds, flies, and even bees. Bees and a lot of animals are intelligent beings. So the question is, where does this knowledge come to them? Like, for example, when we look at sperm, how does the sperm know where it needs to go? How's it got? It's on a mission. It's like, yo, listen, I need to get to the egg. Who gave it that knowledge? So much so that, for example, when a baby is born, it wants to suckle the mother's nipples, because that's where it gets its sustenance from. So the question is, who's giving them this knowledge? Even when a puppy, when it's born, the cubs, they have this innate knowledge that when they're born, nobody has to tell them, hey, by the way, you need to find the milk. They know exactly what they're looking for. So we say that there has to be a higher power. Now, the question you're asking is the same question Charles Darwin asked, the problem of evil. Why is there bad things happening if God exists? Which is a valid question, because a lot of people have it. Like before I become a Muslim, I was like, why is bad things happening? If God exists and He's the all-knowing, so what we say is that we believe that God has attributes. So we don't believe God is a man or a woman. We believe there is nothing like Him. So what we say is that He has to have attributes. To give you a quick example, I don't want to keep you guys too long. Imagine that's a painting.
Yeah.
By looking at the painting, we know about the painter. So we know, for example, He exists. He decided to paint. He's bloody smart. He's good at what He does.
Yeah.
Good. What we say is with God, because He's created us, He has to be the all-powerful, the all-knowing. He has to be all-wise. Now, wisdom requires for us to not comprehend certain stuff. For example, if my child is running towards the fire, and the thing that I can do to save them with not falling into it is to kick them, because my legs are longer than my arms. My child will think I was going to go and play in a warm place and daddy kicked me for no reason.
Yeah.
Not understanding that I just saved his life. So we believe that God Almighty has put us here to live in harmony and peace. But then you have people, men, who are greedy. We have enough food on this planet to feed 3 planets. But if we're greedy and we don't want to share, do we blame God? But God's pointing back at us and saying, listen, I've given you enough resources to share. If you are selfish and you don't want to share, blame yourself. God says don't kill one another. We've got people going to war. Well, today now, we're going to war because of what? Because Trump got caught on the Epstein files, and because he doesn't want to go in jail, he's going and attacking Iran. I'm paying £1.80p per litre of diesel so Trump doesn't end up in jail. So you've got these corrupt people. So then the question is this: God is telling us, I'm not asking for this mayhem to happen. But what I am saying is the following. What God is saying is, there has to be a consequence to these people. Because if you go to the atheistic worldview, what happens to a disabled person or a person who's killed innocent? They just become dust and disappear and become atoms. We say that as Muslim, there has to be a judgment for these evil people. So God's not going to let them just get away with it. That's the comprehension.
I think the thing is, at least for me, it's firstly, I don't know what's going to happen when I die.
Yeah.
It's a nice thought that the evil people who would go to heaven and go to hell.
Yeah.
But A, where do we draw the line? Who is? We have all done evil things. We
Yes.
are all functionally evil. Where is the line drawn? Is the line drawn as to who believes in some being other than us, or is the
Yeah.
line drawn as to who's a good person?
So we say,
And where's that line even exist?
good. So we say, in order for you to know good, you have to know God. Because otherwise we have subjective morality. For example, if you lived in Nazi Germany, it would be okay to do stuff to the Jews, which is wrong. So we say that in today's time, morals are changing. There are people who, for example, come and say, I am this, I am that. So we say, where do we get our moral compass from? So we say that has to come from God, because that's objective, meaning it's free from human opinion. So for example, in order for us to understand real justice, we have to go back to the one that created us, who knows us best, to say, listen, don't gamble, it will destroy your wealth. Don't drink alcohol, it will destroy your liver or kidneys, whatever. Don't have sex outside of marriage, it will destroy your heart. So God has given us protocols to protect ourselves from this jungle. That's why we believe if God exists, then it only makes sense that everything you're wearing has a purpose. How could the one, I'm a very complex being, so are you. How can you tell me that the creator that created us sent us here just to have fun? Allah says in the Quran, we didn't create the heavens and the earth for games and play. There is a purpose, and you aren't going to return back to us. So He says, here's a guideline, try to live by it to the best of your ability. You protect your mind, your soul and your heart from all of these things that human beings are calling you to. And otherwise we don't survive this jungle. Now there's spiritual well-being, there's well-being in the mind, but there's also for the soul. Now the soul is completely neglected. We don't have anything for the soul. What's the food for the soul? We believe it's that connection with God.
I have kind of 2 thoughts. One, everyone's moral compass is different, and in the same sense with religion, there are many different religious texts and religious ideas. How do you know that A, your God is the God, and secondly, it's like, have you played The Sims?
I've heard of it. I didn't get it. I was playing Vice City, GTA.
It's like a life simulation game where you
Yes.
make your Sims and you make them do things,
Yes.
and they do whatever, and then occasionally you make them do something.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes you make them do things because you want them to have a nice life and you want them to be happy. But also sometimes you put them in a pool and remove the ladder. Like it's and if I was a Sim, I would not particularly want to believe in the person who's made this thing and made this house or whatever. I would like to live my life.
Good. Okay, I mean, God allows us to live our life. God says, look, enjoy the blessings that I've given you. Look, the fact that, like I said before, your heart is beating. Do you make your heart beat?
Yes.
Not really, because if you're like, you get like, of course your heart is beating, but if it stops, you can't do nothing about it. So the thing is, do you ask your lungs to? Of course you breathe, but when you're sleeping, do you tell your stomach when you eat food, hey, stomach, make sure you get all the nice vitamins in the right place. No, it's all given information. When you eat, your body knows exactly what to do with the vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin E. It knows where to send it. It knows what to do with the waste. It knows where the nutrition to go. Yes, our body is very some complex machine. So we say that all points to a higher power. We can't deny that there's a creator. Now the question you ask is then why do bad things happen? Now we say that Allah says in the Quran, you might hate something which is good for you and you might love something which is bad for you. Now we live in a society of liberalism. Pain and pleasure. Maximum pain, less pleasure. Well, that doesn't work with pornography. Like people think, oh, pornography has no harm. It dehumanizes women. It makes women sexual objects. Yes, it affects the brain like it does cocaine. So people are looking and saying, I'm not harming anyone. I'm just enjoying myself. Well, no, not only that, because men who are married, who are watching these, it's like watching a Superman. It's like I watch Superman and he goes into the 10th floor and he jumps. I go, bloody hell, that's fantastic. Let me try that. Superman came, and I die. Because that's not real. So when they watch pornography, they are watching things that are not real. And then what happens is they take that out on their partners because they have that expectation in the bedroom. And when they look at their wife, they're like, oh my gosh, she is not as attractive as her. Society corruption happens. So that's why we say banning pornography, banning, for example, alcohol, gambling, these things might be like, oh, but we just like having fun. But what does it do to the human mind, soul? So that's why Allah, Islam, the Quran has come down to have protocols in place to say not everything you enjoy intensely is good for you because some of them harm you.
I think the thing is, firstly, things can harm you and you can still do them because you have the free will.
Not like sex. Like we believe in Islam that sex, we don't believe, we're not Christians. We don't believe sex is, we believe in Islam when a man and a woman has sex in marriage, they are both rewarded for the act. Because a woman, we believe in Islam, a woman has a right for sexual satisfaction. Do you know in Islam a woman can ask for divorce if she's not sexually satisfied by her husband? So this thing of Christians, they believe it's taboo, like, oh no, don't talk about sex. No, with all due respect, in Islam we believe a man and a woman have right for pleasure and intimacy, for example. So it's yeah.
And what if it's a man and a man, or
okay, good. So this is where we draw the line.
Someone doesn't want to have sex at all.
Good. So we say lesbians and gay men. There's two separate rulings. The act is penetration. Now, if a man who's married has sex outside of marriage, there is a capital punishment for him. Why? Now, you might be saying, oh my gosh, a capital punishment because he cheated? No, it's bigger than that because it's what it does to society and the ripple effects. Now, when we look at, for example, children who end up in prison, dead, in prison, many effects, like for example, dropouts in schools, we see a common trait. Sometimes, a lot of times, I'm not saying all the time, divorces. Yes, family breakdown. So what Islam says is, it's not that just the act, it's a ripple effect that it has in society. That's why there's a capital punishment as a deterrent, not that we execute it.
No, like excluding sex outside of marriage.
Oh, good. Okay, good. So now, when it comes to, sorry, that's what I was getting to. Sorry. So if a man or a woman has sex outside of marriage, there is a capital punishment. Now, if a man and a man does that, it's the act of penetration that does that. Now, lesbians, it's not the same ruling because lesbians cannot penetrate each other. So what we believe is that is a sin, but just so you can be correct here, in Islam, we believe that a person who is homosexual can be a Muslim. You can still be a Muslim. If you're a lesbian, you can still be a Muslim. The only way you leave Islam is if you say homosexuality is allowed. We say no. Just say it's not allowed. I'm committing a sin. That's fine. That's between you and God. But it doesn't make you nullify Islam.
Well, why is it a sin? If God has created people who are biologically attracted to people of the same gender, or in fact are not attracted to anyone at all and don't want to have sex, why is that then therefore sinful if it's biological? Okay, good.
So what we say is, number one, there is no evidence to show it's biological. How we can say there can be conditioning. Let's suppose they ended up being like that for raspberries. There's nothing to prove it's biological. There's not a gay gene. However, we can say, for example, they happen to like the opposite gender. Good. Okay. The same applies for a man or a woman who wants to be promiscuous. Yeah. Just because you have, in Islam, we don't believe in hedonism. We don't believe the self. You worship the self. We say that, for example, the whole point of us is to have a relationship with the Creator beyond all these needs and things that we want. So the same applies to a man who wants to sleep around with every single woman. That's not allowed either. Now, in that sense, you're right. A gay person doesn't have that outlet. So what we say is that if truly you have a peace with God Almighty and have a connection with Him, we believe God Almighty will help you overcome all these obstacles. However, it doesn't stop you from being a Muslim. If you said to me, I'm a lesbian, I'll say, you can still be a Muslim. There is more chance you can end up in paradise as much as I do. In Islam, we don't like to judge people and say, oh, you're doomed to hell. We are not allowed to be arrogant because I don't know where I'm going to end up. I'm not allowed to judge you because I speak to some homosexuals here. I'm like, he's like, oh, I'm gay. I'm like, so what? Well, you can still be a Muslim. They actually think we're like Christians. Like, oh, you're doomed to hell. You're going to die. We don't believe that. We believe that as a homosexual, gay, lesbian, whatever you are, the doors for relation with God is always open.
What converted you?
Sorry, sir?
What converted you to Islam? You said you.
Yeah, I came to Islam 14 years ago. I know I look Muslim. I know what a Muslim looks like. But I used to come clubbing and partying in this very place, actually. I can remember I used to live a life of hedonism, girls, partying, clubbing, money. And I came to a point where I was like, what's more to life? Is this it? Like, is this how my life is going to be? I was contemplating about a couple of months ago. I was like, imagine just living the same life. I think I would have committed suicide. Yeah? Oh, we're on TikTok, sorry. I say, I don't lie. Bloody, they're going to ban me out. Yes. Why? Because I was like, there has to be a greater purpose to life. Because this verse here, if you can read it, it says, only in the remembrance of God do hearts find peace. We believe God has created us. Just as Bill Gates, you know the coding in Microsoft. There's coding in PC. God has created us that we will only find happiness with a relationship with Him. That's the reason why when I would try to feed my soul or what I wanted, the desires of women, money, cars, and it was just, there was a gap. And I was like, what's going on? I'm giving it what I think it wants because the soul is rejecting it. You know when you eat something bad, you vomit. It's the same with the soul. The soul is saying, I don't want that. I don't want the girls. I don't want the cars. I don't want, and that's why you see rich people, like, who's that comedian, Jim Carrey? He said, I wish people could be rich and famous so they can see how unhappy people are. So what we've done is that we've made that the bar, and then people try to seek that at any cost and means. And then when you reach that and you're like, well, is this it? You're like, okay, that's what happened to me. I hit a dead end. And thank God I hit that early. Because I was like, there has to be more to life. Like, come on. Like, my watch has a purpose. What's my bloody purpose? And I thought to myself, no, there has to be a higher power. If He exists, there has to be a religion, a scripture that He sent me a message. Because it doesn't make sense rationally, logically, that everything has a purpose. This mere paper was made for the purpose of this. And you're telling me a complex being like me that have trillions of cells in my body, my eye, my heart, my kidneys, and I have no purpose. That's when I looked into religion. I started reading the Bible, the Quran, Judaism, Hinduism, Sikhism. The reason I chose Islam is not because of emotional, because the Quran has evidences in it. There's evidence in this. Islam is not a religion for the blind, the ones of blind faith. Just believe and close your eyes. No. It's a logical and rational belief, and the Quran has evidences within it to show you that it cannot be from a human being. That's why when you start focusing on feeding the soul, a lot of people here are depressed, anxiety is up. Why? Depression, especially among women. You know why? Because you've got these standards of your beauty standards. I was reading a book called Beauty Sick. I recommend you guys to buy it. Beauty Sick is talking about, she's a non-Muslim woman who's doing a study amongst girls. And she's like, I'm speaking to girls who are like, I wish I didn't have the beauty standards so I don't need to starve myself and have a yoga every 3 hours so I don't pass out. Why are these standards on you how to look, wear makeup, look like this? You're a human being. You're not a sex object for the next guy's eye candy for him to look at you up and down. What Islam does, Islam comes and says, do not control your sexuality. You are not an eye candy for men how to look at you and choose you based on your body parts. I was watching I was doing some research yesterday. Came across so many women who have lost their life in the pursuit of Brazilian butt lifts. Dying in the process of beauty or getting lip suction or whatever it is for that matter. It's costing you money, it's costing you happiness, it's costing your mental well-being. So what Islam does, it says, listen, break those invisible shackles of the creation telling you what to do and be a servitude to the Creator. And just end on this, forgive me, I'm doing a lecture here. And I found my true happiness because I was in the same boat as a woman who wears makeup. I would look a certain way, go to the gym, wear jumpers that I look good in, and I wasn't happy. I was wearing clothes that I was uncomfortable in. It would make me itch. But guess what? But I look good in it. I said, you know what? I am a slave to this jumper. That's when I broke those invisible shackles and said, I want to serve the one that created me and free myself from the creation.
My question is, I've kind of got two questions. One, why is it up to us to dress in a way that makes us less provocative, or
make what? Say that.
Makes us appear less provocative, or or anything like that? Why shouldn't this be a change in society?
Yes, perfect.
The idea that the women's natural bodies are provocative. Why is it up to us?
Perfect. So that's a very good question. So Islam deals with this on a micro level to a macro level. What Islam tells me is when I became a Muslim, Islam told me that I should not sexually objectify women. Now, before Islam, I was a whatever you want to call me. Okay, I did not see women as humans. I sexually objectified them. Why? Because that's what I was taught. When I was young, I was exposed to indecent etc. stuff, yeah. And I was a victim to that. Not that I want to, I was exposed to that. So there was a study done in an American university. I can't remember the name of it. I don't know if it's Michigan. They put these things on a man's brain to scan his brain movements, and they showed the man pictures of a woman in bikini. When he saw the woman in bikini, the part of the brain lit up was the part for inanimate objects, tool use. When he looked at that woman, he didn't even see her as a human being. Now, are women to blame for that? No. What Islam says is the following. We have to deal with this from a micro level to a macro level. How do we deal with the macro level? Why are there women in bikinis on a chocolate advert? Why are there women in a miniskirt in a car advert? Or a steel company or a plastic company? What's the plastic got to do with a woman? What's a watch got to do with a woman? Because sex sells. And what the Western world has done is sexually objectify women to such a degree, and that's why Islam says we have to get rid of all of this, because women are not sex objects. Then we say a man has to do his part and a woman has to do his part, which is the following. We have to be realistic and not live in la la land and think, for example, if a woman's walking naked, you can't be like, well, men should not look. True, because Allah tells me in the Quran, tell the believing men to lower the gaze, meaning if you see something, don't look. We are told that. It doesn't matter how she's dressed. Like behind you, there's a woman who's wearing a niqab, yeah? Even if she's closed up properly, I am not allowed to look at her in that way, which means what? We educate our boys that women are not sexual objects. However, this does not mean, okay, the boys are done, they're all lowering their gaze. This doesn't mean we walk around naked. Yes, if that was the case, I'll ask a question. Why can't you? I can go topless right now. If you went topless, you get arrested. So we understand our biology and anatomy is totally different. Good. So we need to acknowledge that men are visual creatures.
I have a question about that.
Sure.
What are your opinions on that? Why is it that, for example, my breasts, which are an inherently biological object, intended to presumably feed children, why are they why are they sexually promiscuous? Why are we assigning sexual promiscuous to a non-sexual organ? Yeah, well, the thing is, you have perks of that. Like, for example, there are certain things women can do. Like, there's double standards. It is a double standard, but double standards also save your life. Like, for example, if you're on a sinking ship, we're going to die for you guys. You're going first with the kids. I still don't think that's right, but yeah.
No, you're right. But then again, as men, we're going to say the children and the kids. We men are going to die. You know Titanic? Hey, we're dying. Yes? Why? Because at the end of the day, those double standards also save your life. Now, that's a reality. Double standards exist. For example, if you two are here and a man tries to get violent with you, we're going to step up and fight that guy. We're not going to say, hey, you go, girls, slay the day. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, well, hold on a second. Why are you? Because biologically, you're weaker. And my job is to what? To protect you. I don't know you from Adam. I can say to you with all due respect, I don't care. We live in a heathenistic society. No, I'm going to say no. My job is to protect you because I believe in this situation you're vulnerable. For example, when you're pregnant, yes? Why did somebody give you a seat? I can say, well, who cares, man? Just keep it strong, sister. You got 8 months pregnant. No, I'm going to give my seat. So those things do exist, but when we go back to the reality, we need to understand men are visual creatures. We don't believe in Islam that Allah tells the woman to cover up because men are pervs. We don't believe that. We say both do their job. As a man, a Muslim man, I have to cover from my navel, just above my belly button, to my knee when I go swimming. So when I go swimming, I usually have a top I wear, yeah? And as a Muslim man, I'm not allowed to wear tight jeans. So I have regulations on me as well. I have to grow a beard. I don't do it because I want to, I do it because I have to. So it applies to both. But if you think about it, what the hijab does is the following, sister. We have to agree that there are bad men, correct? Good. Now, what Islam does, Islam deals with the reality. Islam doesn't say, if you are dressed up like that and you get raped, it's your fault. We don't believe that. We don't believe that. However, when a woman is covered up, we talk to her, not somewhere else. She's controlling her sexuality. She's saying, listen, I'm a human being. I've got a brain. Judge me by my brain, not my assets. So that's why what Islam does is it says, if we have this protocol in place and we stop sexualizing women on a macro level, train our young boys to respect a woman, and then we say, okay, woman, you have to also do your part so we can live in a society where each other is protected, and pornography and all this kind of stuff that's being watched that are making women to be more dehumanized are scrapped. And guess what? If as men we're growing up and we don't expose ourselves to that, I will not have the propensity to look women in that way. I will look at her as a sister. That's why if you've noticed, like I always refer to when I speak to women as sisters. And you probably never heard that before. You're like, why is he calling me a sister? I'm not a sister. To give you that barrier that I'm not here to flirt with you, by the way, because some women might be like, okay, why is he talking to me? I make that clear because that's a barrier, like, okay, I see you like my sister. My message is the message of Islam. I have nothing else that I want from you. So, and that word is very foreign to a lot of Western women. When was the last time you was called a sister? Did you get it? You walk and you're catcalled. Do you get it? Why should you not walk comfortably down the road without someone saying, hey, sexy, hey, can I have your number? For what? One night stand? Get what he wants from you? So Islam protects your heart, because Islam says there are men out there who want the wrong things. So that's why, for example, I always give this example. When I met my wife, I had to speak to her dad. Why? Because a man knows a man. Otherwise, if you go on a date with a man, he's stronger than you. He might be, oh, lovely, I love you. You end up in his house, he can strangle you, he can unalive you, he can do anything to you. So what Islam says is, a woman is in a vulnerable situation. When you are getting to know someone for marriage, your brother will be present. Not there, but for example, keeping an eye. Why? Because Islam is there to preserve your heart. Now let's say he's not going to harm you. What if he leads you on? I love you, promise, and you're an emotional human being. There's nothing wrong with that. You born, he's going to marry you, and he says, you know what? Nah, he sleeps with you and he leaves you. That is not fair, and it's not good for your mind, your body. Do you know how many women have committed and alive themselves because they've been in relationships after relationships have been used and chucked away?
I have a question.
Sure.
Does the same thing apply to men? If
Yes.
If a man is with a woman, should there also be a woman present?
Okay, good, perfect. Yes. So we believe the following. Now, a man in Islam, for example, when I was getting to know my wife for marriage, yes, as a man, if the other side, for example, my wife's brother is there, I am the one that has the propensity, not propensity, I can overpower her. So because I'm the one at the side of the power end, she is the one that needs to be taken care of. Because I don't want to say men are the culprits from the get-go, but you do agree in that situation, I have more power over her, I can coerce her, and there's so many things that I can do that she can't do to me. That's why she has to be chaperoned, because there could be bad men around. Otherwise, if I was in a vulnerable situation, it could be me. But because it's her, she has to be. And then Islam gives rights. Like, for example, I have to marry her. My wife, we don't do 50-50. I pay for every single thing. My wife's money is her money. My money is my money. I don't want to say my money is her money. I pay for everything. She doesn't have to pay for nothing. Because in Islam, again, good. Because Islam understands that there are situations where a woman could be vulnerable. For example, my wife asked for a dowry. Dowry, you know what dowry is? Okay, that's her right. It can be money, it can be gold. It's up to her. It's her discretion. So it's at the discretion of the woman. She can say, I want you to take me to holiday and give me a ring. She can ask for 20,000, 50,000, but she's not getting married. I don't think anybody has that much money. Now, why? Because if we go our separate ways, that's a safety net for her to fall back on. Yeah? And not only that, I am the protector. Allah says to me in the Quran, men are the protectors and caretakers, providers over women. Now I can come and say, that's not fair. Why am I the full-time security and pay for everything? She can pay for everything. I'll cook at home and make some chicken. Why? Because we say, even though it doesn't sound nice to the ear, it's my duty that God has given me and I submit to that. I have to provide for my wife and protect her.
And why can't you both provide for each other?
Good, perfect. Because we believe the greatest inequality is to treat unequal things equally. If I say to you, let's have a boxing match now, me and you, put the gloves on, let's go. It's even both of you. Because Islam deals with the real world. It understands and acknowledges you are weak physiologically. Now, are there exceptions that you have kickboxer woman that can knock me out? Definitely. But that's an exception to the rule. So what Islam says is, let's deal with the reality of life. Disneyland, we would love to live in a Disney world, okay? But the key is what? The reality is what? When you are pregnant, are you vulnerable? Of course you are. You're carrying a baby. You have to be taken care of. Your emotions are up and down. Your hormone imbalances. You've got a baby. You have to be taken care of. Like, I can remember when my wife was giving birth, I was sleeping on the floor. Yeah, it was bloody uncomfortable. But guess what? It's to understand and cater for her. But in today's time, what feminism has done has robbed women of that virtue, which is the main thing, which is what? That it's reduced women to a mere sexual object of the sexual revelation. Sleep with who you want. It doesn't work in your favor because we men love that. You know what we men love? We men, I'll tell you, do you think men love seeing women naked or clothed? I'll be honest with you. Look, men like to see women naked. So let me ask you a question. Which one favors women more? Feminism or Islam? Islam is saying men want to see women naked, men want to sleep and have sex without any consequences. Islam says no, a woman is honored and there has to be protocols in place, because how do we know you're not an F-boy? Yeah? Now I'm going to give you an example. I'm not trying to equate women to cars. A Bugatti. I believe a woman is far more precious than far more precious, but just hear me out. If you go to buy a Bugatti, it's not just about how much money you have, by the way. It's your status. Who are you? Why? Because it's a car that everyone knows. But we want to know, it's not just about, a man can come and say, I'm a billionaire. Yeah, with all due respect. What's your status? Now, a woman is far, far, far more valuable than any car. So how is it that when it comes to a woman, a man can easily come and say, yeah, I love you, have sex and say, oh, I've changed my mind. No, there has to be protocols in place. A man has to check him and say, hold on a second, you want to marry my sister? Okay, how are you going to provide for her? How do you know you're not messing around? So the man's going to think, oh damn, if I try to mess around, I'm going to deal with the male members. Islam has these protocols in place to protect your heart against men like that. What the Western world has done is, no, go have sex. And then you've got these women who are having sex with these men. These men have bad intentions. They destroy your mental well-being. They destroy your self-confidence. They destroy you and say, I've changed my mind, sorry, it's not working out. No, that's not fair.
I mean, firstly, the same can be true of women. And
to an extent, but not as bad. In what situation? Like, how would you say? Like, the only one, like, women, like, if they have, like, for example, someone maybe, like, if they're gold diggers, for example, yeah, they can manipulate men, they can. But a woman cannot overpower, or when it comes to grape, so I have to say grape because I'm on TikTok, yeah? Most of the victims are women. I've never heard a situation of a man being raped. But I mean, it's very rare. But some men might say, you know what, I'm enjoying the moment actually, yeah? Okay, so why? It goes back to we are not the same. Now, I'm not saying there are men out there who that's not happened to, but the key is what? Who are the main victims of rape? Now, even when it comes to domestic violence, both men and women are as bad as each other. It's just that men use lethal force. When you punch me and I punch you, it's not the same thing. So women are as violent as men. So do you see that's why I said the greatest inequality is to treat unequal things equally.
okay. Would you consider in the sense that we're intellectually equal?
Say that again?
Are we intellectually?
Of course you are. In Islam we have, you know who was the first university built by? Fatima al-Firli. She was a Muslim woman who her dad left inheritance and she opened the first university in Morocco. Do you know navigation system that you use today? Do you know who that was built by? A woman called Maryam Astrolabi. Her dad, it's an actual, if I showed you, I watched a video on, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
They showed it to him and he was like, is that from space? Because, he was like, was that made by aliens? I can show you a picture. You'll be mind blown. Actually, I think I've got a picture, I'll show you. And this woman made this, and guess what? They would use this, so wherever they are around the world, they can cut up, they had it, and they would know where they are, based on where the sun is. It was a navigation. And if you think about it, who was that done by? A Muslim woman. And what was the reason that was done? To help. So we believe in Islam, a woman has a right to education, to work, to be provided. We don't have this thing of she cannot work and she has to be secluded in the house.
If she has the right to work and earn money,
yes.
Why doesn't she have the right to also contribute to her family economically?
She can, but at her discretion. Me, I have to. She can choose to. Look. I would say, if anything, I would say, hey, this sounds like it's a woman's religion. Because why is it that I have to contribute, but if she says, you know what, today I'm going to cover the shopping. Okay. I'm going to take us holiday. Okay, you don't have to. She can change her mind and say, you know what, I've changed your mind actually. You're taking us. So for me, it's an obligation. For her, it's a perk. Yeah, I might not. So it gives her that autonomy to do that or not. Islam has given her that right. And as a man, I have to shut up and say, listen, if that is from God, good. Now, but that means also as a man, there has to be one authority in the house. As a man, for example, I lead my house. Does that mean I don't take my wife's say? No, of course, she has a country, she can talk, etc. But there has to be one leadership in the house. You get what I'm trying to say? I believe the head of the kids is the mom, the head of the house is myself, and the head of our house is God. We have it in that hierarchy. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that stuff, yeah.
I think it's very interesting. I think, I think to an extent it definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
But I always think there are things that I personally can't feel. There are things that I personally feel like I can't completely agree with. So, like, for example, the idea that it is inherently sinful for a man and a man or a woman to have sex or be interested in one another.
But that's because I'll say because of today's time, those norms have been added in. About 30-40 years ago, you wouldn't say that. So subjective morality changes.
People would still feel that.
Oh no, of course I'm not. The feeling I can never deny. But what we say is though, if a creator exists, we live in this earth. He calls the shots. So he's not saying that they're damned to hell. He's just saying the act is wrong. And as a human being, we all do wrong stuff. I do wrong things. Just have a relationship with God. You can still be a Muslim as a homosexual or a lesbian. It's still there. But I would say, look deeper into a relation with the Creator, because we believe if God created you, we have to abide by His rules. Now, why certain things are regulated on the Day of Judgment? But we believe, and also if you think about it, evolutionary, a man and a man having sex, they cannot reproduce. It's against evolutionary biology because they can't have babies. So if you think about biologically, it doesn't. And secondly, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone's homosexual. It's unhygienic in the sense where you are inserting your private part into another man's rectum where he defecates from. So what I'm saying is, in an argument perspective, it's unnatural. This is what the angle that we say, without any offense. So again, I'm not saying people have the propensity or the desires to have that. I understand. We just say Islamically that it's a sin, and to procreate, it goes against that.
And what about people who have no interest in sex whatsoever?
No, it's fine. It's not. If no one wants to have sex, for example, there are some Muslim women who are like, I don't want to get married. I mean, it's not sinful. If you choose to, you choose to. You know, like no one can really blame them. No one can really blame them.
But isn't that the same thing? Isn't that the same thing?
No, it's not, because there's no act happening. So they're saying we're abstaining from sex.
Isn't that an act?
Say that again?
Isn't that an act? Isn't that a choice?
It's a choice, but in the sense where it's they're not acting. They're not doing something. If that makes sense.
Well, surely if the biological purpose of a man and woman are to have sex, make babies.
Yeah.
Then it is no different. Just hear me out this, and I don't disagree with this.
If she abstains,
Point I'm making. Surely then it would be considered no different for for two men to get together than it would for a man or a woman to never want to do.
Yeah. I mean, if everyone decides to do that, it would be problematic. But I don't think everyone has the innate desire to want intimacy. And the reason why God has put that in us is to procreate. It's not something you can really control in that sense. So, I mean, if there are people who end up being like that, as long as they're not over majority, because then we're going to run out of human beings. Even the birth rate in the UK is dropped to a very severe rate. So procreation is key. And to me, the whole thing of homosexuality goes against that. It's survival. Like if you look at it evolutionary, it's not going to help our survival.
And okay, let me just hear me out. And then what about people who have had kids and don't want them, can't look after them, whatever?
Yeah.
Surely, therefore, God has made it so that there are men and men who need kids who will be able to look after these kids.
I mean, there's studies that show that homosexual couples, the psychological effect that it has on the child is catastrophic. Like, for example, nuclear family households do better, and then you have, for example, a single father is shown to do better raising up kids than a single mother. But when it comes to homosexual couples, you need to understand the way God has created us. This is why it's important. We need mercy, the mother's mercy, and the father's role in an upbringing of a child. And studies show that when you have the opposite of two females or two men, it has catastrophic implications on the child, because that dynamic is corrupted. And that's why when we try to insert things into the creation that is not natural, it has a ripple effect. Like there was I'm not saying all, there was a gay couple who had adopted a child. I'm not saying all, they raped that child and killed it. I'm not saying that's the reason why. I'm just saying that, for example, psychologically, let's say they're not doing that, they're safe. It still has harmful effects on the child. Studies show this is not me.
Okay, I'm genuinely interested to see your sources of this.
Sure. By the way, this is what the device looks like. That's the device that she made. It's called an astrolabe.
Wow.
So yeah, her name is. That's not her. That's the thing. Her name is Mariam Astrolabe. She did that, and they will use this device to know prayer times and where they are located. And this was like, God knows how long ago. So yeah, if you're regarding the studies, 1 second.
If you show me, I'll take a photo then.
Yes, give me 1 second.
I'm interested to investigate these.
Yeah, no, it's good. Look into it.
Necessarily.
Yes. I need to open my notes 1 second. So you guys watched the movie? The movie's finished?
Yeah, the movie's finished. Yeah. What do you want to see? Hence the tears. Was
it emotional? Is it like a...
It was the finale.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a part of your makeup or was you crying?
No, that was me crying.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, what was makeup?
It was dramatic ending.
Oh, okay.
It's a finale of a series that I absolutely love and I've loved for a very long time.
Oh, okay.
And it's something I really care about.
I'd recommend it to you. You might not agree with some of the things in it, but it's a good story and I really like it.
Yeah, no. I like movies based on true stories.
It's not based on a true story.
Oh, isn't it? Okay.
No.
Me, I'm like that. If I'm gonna watch a movie, it's based on a true story.
You're a fan of a documentary.
Okay. The specific one that I'm looking for, I can't find. I'm gonna try to find you one on the behavioral organization. Central Parents, basic
No, I think it's important.
If you can, are you on Instagram?
No.
Okay, because I need to get you the actual link. There's a specific study that's done. How can? Okay, yes. Just add me, and I will send you because it's a specific study that was done.
I don't have Insta.
No, it's good. It's good. Look into it. I look into this stuff. Yeah.
I don't have Insta because they made it seem like.
What you guys? Are you guys students? Are you studying? What do you guys study?
I study politics.
Oh, okay.
And geography and English there.
Oh, fantastic.
I study science.
Oh, good. My name is Ali Dawah on Instagram. ALI.
So I did IGCSE and I find religion very interesting. Even though I don't necessarily believe in it, I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's good. And I love. That's why I like doing research. There's just one specific study I want to read. That's quite fun because I like to go to reliable ones. You have these ones that I just made, but I'll go to because I couldn't find the link, but I'll send it to you. It's this one. That's my Instagram, Ali Dawah. Yeah. Then message me and I will send you the link there. Tonight, most likely.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Yeah, it was nice talking to you guys. Thank you. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you
Yes.
for doing
No, it's a pleasure. We're here every Friday and Saturday. If you ever have more questions, we're here. Yeah.
This is something I find thinking about religion and stuff. I find it really fascinating.
Yeah, it's good. That's why I like to learn from each other. Yeah.
Are we live on TikTok?
You're live on YouTube and TikTok, yes. But this might get clipped. It might be on TikTok. So yeah, sometimes it goes viral. Yeah. No problem. Thank you. Take care. Oh, by the way, have you guys got one?
I do. Yeah. I don't.
Really? You've got enough to lose.
Why not?
Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.